What do you do?
So Neighborhood Gleaners collects food from farmers markets and redistributes it to low-income seniors, primarily. Occasionally we'll have an excess and we'll broaden that spectrum. And we try to keep it in the neighborhood that we're from, so the Hollywood food all stays within the Hollywood neighborhood, again, unless we need to spread it further because there's so much.
So how did the program get started?
It's sort of a long story, but we got started in 2010. I went to go to the Oregon Governor Volunteer Awards ceremony, and they were talking about hidden hunger and how hunger affects seniors. And I started thinking about how my grandpa was on Meals on Wheels, and the food was kind of processed looking, and he wasn't always really excited to get it, and he didn't have the option to get out to the grocery store anymore. So it was really personal for me when I heard all of this, and I went home to my partner and I said, so there's this problem, and she is as bad as I am, worse probably, in terms of let's commit to something crazy. And she had a whole bunch of years of experience in restaurants, and I'm a volunteer manager, so everything just kind of came together really well. We talked about what all the possible issues would be, so the different barriers that seniors face to getting food, and that can be coming to the market is hard, not knowing how to prepare it, not cooking for yourself anymore, just price. And we said, well, what are the different ways that we can alleviate those barriers to access through this program? So part of the food comes here to be cooked or is somehow incorporated in Meals on Wheels wherever possible. Part of it is set up like a farmer's market down at the senior center for people to can cook for themselves. Anything that's sort of on the line in terms of it might not make it for a couple of days to Monday, we'll freeze. We do Senior Center Thanksgiving starting last year, so we incorporate a lot of it into Senior Center Thanksgiving, which was a huge success last year. At Hollywood, we have a crew of 6 or 8 people that come every single week, and it's so successful and so reliable that we really don't recruit additional people to come to the market. I'm still looking for people who can help out Monday mornings with distribution, but aside from that, like, this crew is really solid. I mean, we're basically family.
Why do you do it?
Because my mom passed away 3 years ago, and she lived in an assisted living situation, and I saw a lot of people in her facility that had a tough time being there, and food security was pretty rough. Not for my mom, but for the others there, so that kind of started it for me. I come here and I get this great feeling every time I'm here.
Depending on the time of year, basically every vendor here has participated in some capacity. So even if they don't donate gleaned things every week, they'll help us with fundraisers.
What do you see as the advantages for the vendors who participate?
I think the advantages for the vendors really vary on the vendor. I mean, there is a minimal tax break, but I really don't think that it's a huge incentive for most of the vendors. I think that not having to carry it home is a really big incentive a lot of weeks, but I also think that the vendors are really committed to our mission.
I guess the easiest way to explain it is it's the right thing to do. It's just the right thing to do. I went over there a few years ago. It was after a real rainy market, and I had a bunch of produce left over, and I had probably 3 or 4 pallets in the truck that I dropped over here at the Hollywood Senior Center, and the looks on those people's faces, really, they were almost to the point of tears with all the stuff I brought over. And I thought, if these few worn out vegetables mean that much to somebody, they deserve every lick of them.
In terms of who we serve, we will get, I generally estimate 10 to 15 pounds of produce per person that takes something. We'll run out of food within generally a couple of hours. Sometimes it'll take a full day for the food to go. And we get, last week we ended up with about 1,000 pounds of food during a really great week. When all the zucchini comes in from Frank, we'll have 2,200 pounds of food. So you can kind of do the math based on that, but a lot. We have a line out the door every Monday morning. Our biggest challenge is probably lack of time, because we do this as volunteers. And I work 2 jobs and my partner works full time, and most of our volunteers also work. If we had all the time in the world, it would probably look a little different. The other major barrier is funding, because I don't have time to go write a bunch of grants. We'll generally write a couple a year and hope for the best. We don't want the senior center to have to cover. We try to have no impact on the senior center, because senior centers don't typically roll in a bunch of money either. So those are our big challenges, time and money. It's, no one else has those issues.
When you leave here at the end of the market, you drive the food, you take the food to the Hollywood the senior center. Yep. And then what happens?
After we get back to the senior center, we unload the van, which can sometimes take a while. We weigh it all, and that's how that we get the numbers for how much food we've collected over the course of the year. We will sort it, so we'll try to organize it before it goes in the refrigerator so that Monday morning when Gerda and I are putting everything out, it's early. It's 7:45. We don't need any complication. I want all the lettuce in one box. But we'll also look for anything that might need additional help. So like today is really hot. There's gonna be a lot of lettuce that needs ice bathing. We'll sort through all the fruit to make sure that it doesn't have spots on it that will cause it to go bad before Monday. The senior center has been so accommodating to us. They have this big closet that used to have a bunch of medical stuff in it, and it still has a bunch of medical stuff in it, but it now also has a 3-door commercial refrigerator. That was our big fundraising adventure through the farmers market, our second year. We are getting a dishwasher hopefully soon. And then our big thing that we really, really need is a new stove. New Seasons was super helpful. They're great. We had this crisis at Senior Center Thanksgiving, or a very Gleaners Thanksgiving, which is what I was calling it all year. We thought we weren't going to have flowers at the table because our flowers fell through, so we called them and we said, do you have any flowers you're going to throw out that we could come and sort through and make bouquets? And they were like, yeah, come by at like 6. We showed up, they had made 20 beautiful bouquets. Jen goes to pick them up, she calls me crying. She's like, they made the most beautiful flowers. And I'm tearing up again too. It was just so sweet. I mean, flowers aren't the most important thing, but between the beautiful vintage tablecloths that some of the other volunteers had brought and everything else, it felt like a home. It didn't feel like a charity thing that you would go to, so yeah.
So what do you hear from people who receive the food?
When people talk about what this program means to them, I have heard my blood pressure is lower because I'm finally getting vegetables. I have tried vegetables I never tried before. I am having to look up recipes to try new things because I want to find out how to use this garlic whip. It's amazing.
Grateful for this because I try to keep my weight down because that's one of the things that older people need to consider. And this really helps because vegetables are more expensive than some of the less expensive things, and it really helps me a lot in my budget. And I thank them, especially the ladies that are taking their time to put it out. I thank them every week because I really appreciate it.
Well, I'll tell you the truth, though. I do think this makes us eat more vegetables. Okay. We do eat more vegetables when we... Yeah, you've got it there. And you're not going to let it go to waste.
Because I know some people that really rely on it, for a lot of their cooking. That way they get, vegetables and all that. So that's why I think it's a great program.
I never like us to look at this program like it's a charity situation. Like we're fixing problems. It's not a charity. We are fixing that food might go to waste. We are fixing that people get access to food. We're bringing people together around food. So when we wrote our mission statement, I was like, we're not doing a charity project here. We're building community around food. It's like the oldest story of time, right? Should any beachbody be wondering, how can I get involved? Lest they be deterred by that we are full up on Saturdays for gleaning, there are a million other options. I could really use help from people who wanted to do more programmatic things, who wanted to help me with marketing, or wanted to help with fundraising, or wanted to come on Monday mornings at 7:45 in the morning. I could use people who wanted to be on call for when we get 1,500 pounds of cherries donated and we have to sort through them. Those are fun days. We order pizza on those days. It's very important to me to feed people. There's a lot of ways to be involved. Oh, if anyone has reusable bags, they should bring them to the farmers market.
And what about just flat out money?
Flat out money also accepted. We are happy to accept donations. Everything is tax deductible through the senior center for either gleaning or for Thanksgiving. We're going to need a lot of help for Thanksgiving too.